What up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Married at First Sight. This is season 14, episode number 10. No. This is episode 11, you guys. I don't know what the title of episode is, so it'll be right here on the screen, and it'll also be in the description bar in the video. Now, before we go ahead and jump into this episode of Married at First Sight, if you guys are watching this episode or any other, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and are not subscribed to the channel, I need you guys to do me that favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Now, you guys can do me that big favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, sharing the video, and you guys, with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss Married at First Sight, shall we? All right, you guys. So we see as our couples, they are celebrating 1 month being married to each other, right? 1 month. And it seems like it's hell for some of these people already, right? I want to talk about Katina real quick before Katina and Elijah are going to be the last couple to talk about, but I just want to talk about them real quick because we see them as is day 30 and the couple, actually it was day 29, day 30, and day 31, right? So we see as she's cooking breakfast for Elijah. I was looking at them eggs. I was like, girl, them eggs are stuck to that skillet. I don't know if them eggs are going to be that good, right? Katina, I really don't want you to lose yourself in this Neanderthal. That's the one thing I don't want you to do. Lose yourself in him, right? Because them eggs were stuck to that. They were stuck to that skillet like glue. Because when she was scraping them off, I'm like, oh no, Katina, you didn't spray the skillet with some Pam, some butter, some. I don't even eat eggs, and I know you did. She would want to spray the skillet, right? I don't eat eggs, but I do know how to cook them. I just don't eat them. But hey, that's that. I was just looking at them. That skillet. So the first couple we're going to talk about is Noy and Steve. Right? So we see Steve. So Steve went out with his brother, right? His brother, Jeff, who's been married for 10 years, right? So they're talking about, they're approaching, a month of being married, right? So he's asking them, what is it like, right? So he tells him at first, Noy was okay with him not working. I don't necessarily think Noy was ever okay with you not working. I think, when you say you're between jobs, I think most people would think, okay, he's between jobs. Maybe he's actively looking for another job, but no. Steve is not actively looking for shit at this point, right? But he says he feels that Noy wants him to do so much. She wants him to bring her breakfast, right? Take out the dog. I was like, Steve, that's the least you could do. You're not working. What the fuck you want to do all day? Just sit in the bed and sit on the couch and all that? No. You're gonna do something in this house. I don't give a damn if it's scrubbing the toilets. Get your ass down there and scrub the motherfucking toilet. Like, absolutely not. It just wouldn't happen. No. Absolutely, positively, no. So, then he tells his brother about the situation with the noodles, right? The pasta. That situation, to me, to this day, is still just the dumbest shit. That Noy got upset about some god dang on pasta. Girl, it wasn't that deep, right? But his brother does tell him, to find little things that, they probably have issues with within a marriage and work on them, right? Great advice. So then we later see Noy, and she's out with her friend, right? So she's telling her friends, her friend that, 1 month, we're coming up on it, right? So she says, how has it been, right? She says, it's been good. She says, it's like an 80-20 thing, right? She says, he's very sweet. He tells her he loves her all the time. I'm like, Noy lives in a fairy tale world. She just lives, it's like she lives in a fairy tale world. The whole love situation, right? Like, y'all have only been married a month. Now, granted, like I said before, you can fall in, love doesn't have a timeline, right? But in this situation, things are heightened. So I don't necessarily know if it's 100% love, right? Because things are heightened in this situation. But hey, she likes that, right? But what she says, the 20% is she has to encourage him, and she doesn't want to be the sole breadwinner in the marriage, right? Understandable. I completely understand that you don't want to be the sole breadwinner. But girl, I don't think your husband wants to get a job, period, point blank, right? I just don't think Steve wants to work. I think Steve wants to be a house husband. Just saying. So then we see them. They go out for their, wedding, their 1 month wedding anniversary, right? So they're in the city. He's giving her, the tour guide, right? The Boston, where the Boston Tea Party happened. That he's just showing her things right now. I'm like, okay, cool. So then they present each other with gifts. He gave her a gift. It was something for her and sushi, and he ordered another thing for. It was like leopard print stuff for sushi for her. He said he ordered one for him so that maybe they can take a family photo. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not even gonna say nothing about that. So yeah. So then she gave him a camera, right? And that was that. So they talk about the marriage, right? She says, it's a lot harder than what she expected, right? But it's been very rewarding. I was like, okay, no, if you say so, it's been rewarding. I'm just gonna let you go on that, right? So she says going into the next month, right, what she wants is for them to have a plan about money and him having a job. He says he already has a plan. I was like, what is that plan, Steve? Because you don't want to work, and then when you were with your brother, you were talking about the fact that she has you doing so much stuff around the house. What the hell is that plan, Steve? What in the hell is the plan? Because I'm actually with Noi at this point. What's the plan? Lay it out. Lay it out. What's the plan? Flat. Lay that shit out. I would love to know what the plan is, but hey. That's it for Noi and Steve, you guys. We're going to move on over to Mark and Lindsay. All right, you guys. So we see Mark, right? So Mark... Mark said that, so Mark is in the car, kind of like I am right now. Mark was in the car filming, kind of like I am, right? He was telling us that, his job. Now, I didn't realize it until, I think last episode, Mark worked at Planet Fitness, the gym that I actually go to Planet Fitness, right? So Mark said that his job told him that, well, I don't know if he works at Planet Fitness, but I do know that in last week's episode, they were at a Planet Fitness, right? But Mark said that his job told him that, hey, once filming commences, come on back to work. But while you're filming, don't bring them cameras in this gym, right? So now he has to go tell Lindsay this information, right? And the way Mark was saying it, I'm like, yeah, Mark, I don't think you're really ready to have that conversation with Lindsay, right? And I can see why he didn't want to have that conversation with Lindsay, because we're going to get into it in just a minute, right? So he says, he's looking for new work, right? So I was thinking to myself this whole time when he said he got to go tell Lindsay, I'm like, oh God, please don't tell Lindsay this, right? Because Lindsay is going to use this when Mad Day comes again, right? Because we all know Mad Day is going to come again with Lindsay, and Lindsay is going to put your shit out on Front Street, right? Like, that's just who Lindsay is, and it's a nasty trait to have, right? So he does tell her that, right? She says, oh, you don't have to worry about getting a job. Mark, get a job. Don't listen to Lindsay. Get a J-O-B. Get a job, Mark. Get a job. Because Lindsay, like I just said a minute ago, when you and Lindsay have your shit again, because it's going to happen, when you and Lindsay have y'all shit again, Lindsay is going to use that. Throw it up in your face. Oh, go stay with your mom. I'm pretty sure she'll be happy to take care of an out of work fat man. I ain't saying that you're fat, Mark. I'm just talking as Lindsay, right? A fat man who can't give me an orgasm with tiny balls. She's going to use that to her. She's going to use that, Mark. I'm just letting you know that right now. Lindsay is going to use that against you. So I wish you didn't tell her that you had to find another job, right? So then Lindsay says, well, you know what? Since we want to have a family and want to have kids, why don't you work on getting to know me? Lindsay, this man is literally sitting here telling you he wants to pull his own weight and get a job, and here you are. Granted, I mean, he can still get to know you. He can still get to know you. What the hell does the job? I mean, it could be worse. You could have Steve, right? Steve doesn't want to work. Right? Steve doesn't want to work. Steve doesn't even want to help. Now now he's complaining about cleaning. But you could have Steve. I'm pretty sure Noi would be happy to hear her husband say, "Oh, babe, my job said I can't come because we're filming this show, but I want to find me another job," right? Noi would be ecstatic about that. Then you got Lindsay's ass over here who ain't ecstatic, talking about get to know her. Then this helper went one step further and she flipped this whole situation and made it about her. Talking about, oh, it's all about Mark. Mark, it seems like you don't want to deal with me or even have kids. Girl, you are 1 month in. Why in the hell are we discussing kids, right? Y'all ain't even made it to decision day. Why are we granted, we can talk about kids, right? But girl, we too early in the process to be even discussing children. Lindsay annoys me. Lindsay annoys my spirit. Lindsay annoys my spirit. I'm going to say that one more time. Lindsay annoys my spirit. Mark and Chris. We see Chris. Hey, Chris. Nice to see you again, buddy. Glad you ain't with that heifer. So Mark and Chris, they went shopping for a gift for Lindsay for their anniversary. You should have bought her a lump of fucking coal. Just should have bought a lump of coal. So they talk about the bowling. The last time that Chris saw them, right, it was at bowling. And you guys remember the situation with Katina and Lindsay, right? When Lindsay asked Katina why she rolled her eyes at her, right? I still have the same stance as last time, right? Because I would have asked Katina the same question. Why are you rolling your eyes at me? I ain't said nothing to you, did nothing to you, right? But Mark didn't defend her, right? So I'm still on her side with that one, right? But what happened after that, I'm not on her side, period, point blank, because you went low. I mean, he kind of took a low blow, but you took it all the way to the pits of hell. So she apologized to him, right? What did she apologize for? Because I know she didn't apologize for that hot mic moment, right? He says that they're not in love with one another. I'm not surprised. So then we see Mark and Lindsay. They're on an outdoor date. Thank God. I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit, but Lindsay, you have a big issue with. I've been saying it for weeks now that she has an issue with boundaries. You have an issue. You love to embarrass Mark. That is the one thing you love to do, is you love to embarrass Mark. And I know she thinks it's funny, but when you look at Mark is cringing when you do the things that you do to him. So I don't blame Mark for taking home this outdoor date, right? They watched your wedding video, and Mark got emotional, right? After thinking about all the fights that they've had. Mark, don't feel too emotional, right? Because it takes two to tango, right? It takes two to tango, but I really do feel like Lindsay starts a lot of this shit. Yeah, I really feel like Lindsay starts a lot of this shit with Mark. Is Mark perfect? No, but Lindsay is a whole hell of a lot. She's a whole hell of a lot, right? All right, you guys, so we're going to pause here and we're going to go ahead and move forward. All right, you guys, so the next person, I'm going to talk about Jasmina and Michael, right? I actually should have talked about Jasmina and Michael first, because there wasn't really a whole lot with Jasmina and Michael. And being quite honest with you guys, I wasn't really paying attention to Jasmina and Michael's story this episode, because it's quite confusing, right, with Jasmina and Michael. For weeks now, we have saw Jasmina and Michael at odds with each other, right? But in this week's episode, they're in a good space with each other, right? And I'm just like, when the hell did this happen, right? And granted, there's probably stuff they don't show us, right? But I'm just like, when in the hell did Jasmine and Michael get on any kind of a page, right? So we see Michael, and he has his friend over, right? So he was talking about how it's been a roller coaster with the marriage, right? It's been up and down. Has it really? Because a roller coaster, it has its twists, its turns, right? This relationship started kind of on a good note at the wedding and spiraled down. It ain't never had a peak. It ain't never had a turn. Well, y'all have had a few turns, right? when Pastor Cal came over, right? Y'all had that one moment, right? Dr. Viviana came over, y'all had a semi moment, but then it went left again when Jasmina said she didn't want a journal, right? I just wish Jasmina would really tell Michael, I don't like you like that. I don't see it for you. I really wish he would tell him that, right? So Michael says that, they have a lot of arguing. They're trying to figure each other out and to figure out how to communicate with each other. Okay, I can see that, right? Yeah, and I've said this and I'm going to continue to say that, like I've been saying, Jasmina says that Michael has a tone, but like I said, she has one as well. So yeah, y'all got to work on how to communicate with each other, because communication skills with you two is ineffective, right? So we see them as they're celebrating their 1 month anniversary, right? So they take a look at some photos from the wedding, right? And then Michael has also decided that he wants to recreate their wedding day. I was like, oh, that's actually very sweet when you sit and think about it. That's really a sweet thing, right? So he's taking her back to where they got married at, right? They recited their vows. They cut the wedding cake when they got home. They had dinner. Well, they had dinner first, recited their wedding vows. They they danced. Then they got home and cut the wedding cake. I was like, oh, no, that really was very thoughtful and very romantic, right? And you even see Jasmina kind of crack a smile a little bit, right? I was like, okay, maybe things are looking up for old Jasmina and Michael. I still hope that when we get to decision day, I really hope and pray that they say no. I really want them to say no at decision day. I just don't really, for me personally, you guys can let me know what you think, but for me personally, when it comes to Jasmine and Michael, I just don't see it. I don't see it, right? I don't see it. Like how Jasmina feels like they wasted 4 weeks, being at odds and whatnot, right? But Michael doesn't see it that way. He's, yeah, the more I watch, the more the episodes go by that we watch, honestly, I don't want anybody at this point now. I don't think I want anybody to say yes at decision day, right? Because at one point I was saying Noy and Steve, right? But even with Noy and Steve, I don't necessarily know if I want Noy and Steve to say yes, right? Because Noy can't get past the fact that Steve doesn't want to work, and Steve literally doesn't want to work, right? So yeah, I don't think I want anybody to say yes at decision day. That could change, right? But I know for a fact I don't want Jasmine and Michael to say yes. I don't want Jasmine and Michael to say yes, right? So they've gotten closer to each other over the last week, right? I will say it is nice, like I said earlier, it is nice to see them at this point, but how long is this gonna last, right? And then I saw the commercial for next week, right? And they're showing a preview of what's to come, and looks like Jasmine and Michael are gonna go back to being, on different ends, right? I really hope and pray that they say no at the end of this. I just don't think that they should be together. All right, guys. Next up, let's talk about Olajuwon and Katina, right? So we see Katina as she's talking to her friend on FaceTime, right? And she's just telling her, marriage was a big adjustment for her, right? And that's understandable. Like I said earlier in the review, Katina, yes, marriage is an adjustment, right? You have to get to know your partner, what your partner likes, what your partner doesn't like, and vice versa. Your partner has to do that with you, right? But you got a partner that doesn't give one iota of a fuck about you, right? Your partner puts you down. And I don't, like I said earlier in the review, I don't want Katina to lose herself in Olajuwon. Olajuwon, in my personal opinion, is a complete POS. You guys know, if you guys don't know what that acronym means, please look it up. Because I guess I could say it. He's a piece of shit. I was trying to be nice. He's a piece of shit. So she says that, she felt she needed to guard herself, right? Because she's been hurt. Katina, keep that guard up, baby girl. Keep it up, right? Because that's all he wants to do is hurt you, right? So keep your guard up. Raise it. have all kind of ammunition there, so that way when he attacks you, you can attack back. Shoot a missile at him, shoot a bazooka at him, shoot a Uzi at him, like shoot all that shit at him. Have a cannonball, have everything at your arsenal when he comes to attack you, because he's gonna do it, right? He's gonna do it. Oh, he's gonna do it. So yeah, keep that guard up, right? But her friend tells her to move with her heart, and I agree with the friend, right? You should move with your heart, right? But when this woman is being berated and, you know, treated the way that she's treated by Olajuwon, don't lead with your heart. Keep your heart guarded, right? Close. When you see a change in him, that's when you can say, okay, I feel comfortable, you know, showing who I am, my personality. Because, like I said, Olajuwon's sole purpose right now is just to beat up on her, right? And we're going to talk about that because I just got a lot of stuff to get off my chest with him. So then we see them, they're going to gondola ride, right? And it was nice, right? It was a nice thing. Here's what I had an issue with, right? Because he said to her in the last week, she's shown him who she is. What the hell does that mean? She's shown you who she is. Have you shown her who you are, right? Like you want from Katina, and she gives gifts to you, but what do you do for her? Like, I ain't heard not one point in this whole situation what Olajuwon does for Katina. It's what he wants from Katina. That's all I've ever heard from this entire season with Olajuwon. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. But you never hear what he does for her. It's never a give and a take. It's always a you give to me, I take. You give to me, I take. You don't get nothing from me, right? Because you're even withholding sex from her, right? You're withholding sex from her, and I'm still kind of confused. Why is that? Like, that's a big question for me. Why is he withholding sex from her? Because he says he's attracted to her, but you don't want to have sex with her. Okay. But you know what, Katina, count your blessings, right? Because I mean, that man can't even clean his own drawers. So count your blessings, girl. Count your blessings. Now, the one thing with Olajuwon, he be talking, and the only thing I can talk because I shaved my head, so I'm bald. The thing that bothers me, I be looking at with Olajuwon, is that hairline. Olajuwon, your hairline has receded, my brother. Like, I'm bald. I like being bald, right? But my hairline never receded. My hairline, it never receded. It just thinned. My hair just thinned out to the point where it got bald, right? But I actually still have hair follicles right here in the top. I still have hair follicles, you guys. So I could get hair. You know what? I might look into some kaleidoscopes at some point if I want to, right? But yeah, Olajuwon, that hairline, my brother, your hairline ain't right here no more, right? Your hairline is all the way back here. I see why you had that cockatoo on your head, covering that ugly shit up, right? So he told her at one point that he's feeling her and that he wouldn't change her. Allah don't care who tell it, because you've already tried to change her and you're feeling her. Okay, whatever. You're full of shit. You are full of shit. All right, you guys. So then let's pause here and we're going to wrap up the episode. All right, you guys. So the episode, I'm going to end it with the situation that happened when all the couples went out to dinner, right? So we see them. This is why I said earlier in the review about Lindsay. Lindsay just lives to embarrass Mark, because Mark, at one point, he asked the couples, you know, how do they feel about their spouses, right? And she's like, oh, how do you feel? I would have told her, yeah, yikes. No parts of me could be married to Lindsay. Lindsay and I would fight all day, every day, because the things she said, because I'm going to tell her, Lindsay would hate me. Lindsay would hate me, because Lindsay and I wouldn't get along. And then at one point when she put her hand on that man's head, and even Jasmina and Michael had to point it out, like, I think you're making him uncomfortable. And she's just laughing. I'm like, girl, you are making him uncomfortable, because when you put your hand on the back of his head, the man cringed, and you could literally see it. The man cringed and tensed up. But no, she don't give a shit. She don't give a shit, right? So then so Noy, she's talking about Steve. She says she's in love with him and that they've had sex. I just wanna know what it is with Noy, right? Noy, I mean, I get it, right? Love is love. Like I said earlier, love does not have a timeline. But my thing with Noy is, why are we rushing it? Because it just feels like, to me, with Noy, that she's rushing love, right? She's rushing it. And again, this is a heightened process, and I just don't know why we're rushing it. Yes, we got married at first sight, right? We're complete strangers, right? We don't have to force the love thing. Like, let's take the time out to get to know each other, right? Let's take the time to get to know each other. Um, and let's just talk about this real quick, right? Because one of the issues that I do have with Noy and Steve, aside from the fact that Steve visibly doesn't want to work, is also the fact that when it comes to Noy in conflict with Steve, because he said this to his brother, right? That Noy doesn't talk to him. And he said this to the group as well. Noy goes to her friends, and they need to work on that, right? Because he's the type that he doesn't want to let it sit and fester. And I get that, right? You don't want to let something fester. My thing is, so I can see both sides, right? Not her talking to her friends, not Noy talking to her friends. I don't understand that, because just like if people tell their friends and their family about their relationship, right? And when you and your spouse or significant other make up, your family and friends are still upset with them, but you have chosen to forgive them, right? So that's why it's best to keep your friends and family out of your relationship, right? But when it comes down to me, right? I said it last week, right? When it comes down to me, when I get upset and angry, I do typically, you know, I don't want to talk about it right. Like, if it's something that I'm upset about, I don't necessarily want to talk about it right away, right? Give me maybe 30 minutes or an hour, right? Maybe even just give me 30 minutes, right? Give me 30 minutes to calm down, right? And then we can have a sit down and we can have a conversation about it, right? But I'm not going to let something go, 24 hours. Like, that's just not who I am, and that's just not what I'm going to do. And I think that's what Noy needs to get to the point of, right? So Michael and Jasmine, they talk about their relationship, right? And they're treating every day like it's decision day. Girl, decision day needs to come soon for them too, because like I said earlier, I just don't want them to, yeah, no. Don't want them to say yes. I want them to both say no and go on about their lives and move on, because it just ain't there. It just ain't there. So then we see Katina, right? So Katina's talking about her relationship with Olajuwon, right? And she's saying nice and positive things, right? Then this fool says he questions the marriage, right? Is it real? Is this gonna be a real marriage, or are we gonna be friends? Like, what's gonna happen with this marriage? So everybody started looking like, what are you talking about? And Katina was even like, wait a minute, huh? And I was even like, wait, huh? What are we talking about? He says, yeah, on the way here, I went through, I asked Katina to see her phone, and I went to her phone and I saw something that I questioned it. Olajuwon, this is what really kind of got to me in this episode, right? I would have been on your side, right? I would have been on your side, but I can't be, because you were fucked up in the way that you approached this situation, right? You brought this up in front of the whole entire group. You did that with the sole intent of embarrassing Katina, right? You let her go first and talk of these nice pleasantries, right? Then you hit her with the boom, and I'm like, you did that to embarrass her and make her feel like shit. This is emotional abuse. Katina, decision day, fuck no, hell no, ain't no way in hell. That's what you need to say that's what you need to say. Fuck no, hell no, ain't no way in the hell. I'm staying with this motherfucker. Let him go. Let him go, right? So I was with Katina because she didn't want to talk about it at the table. And here's the thing that threw me for a loop, right? When Lindsay chimed in at one point, right? She says, like, I know you go hard for this bitch. I was like, why she got to be a bitch? I was just wondering why she had to be a bitch. because Lindsay said that, and I was like, why does she have to be a bitch? You know, Jasmina and Michael. Now, I do love the fact that Jasmina, she stood up for her, right? I think pretty much everybody was under the whole notion that you didn't have to bring this up at the table, bruh. Like, have a conversation with your wife solo dolo. We don't need to know what's going on, right? So, I'm done with the notes, so I don't really need that. So, I'm sitting here this entire time, right? So, I'm thinking to myself, okay. And when I saw the previews of it last week, I was like, I wonder what the issue was. And I see, my whole thing was, I was thinking, okay, maybe he went through her phone, maybe he went through a text message, and he saw, her texting another guy, right? Okay, I will give him that, right? You're married. Why are you texting another guy? Then when they got home, they talked about it. They actually discussed it, right? So he says, "Let me see your phone." So she hands him his phone. Hands him her phone. He's like, "What is this?" So I was like, "Okay, so maybe she didn't text anybody." I'm like, "Okay, so maybe what it is maybe it's a nude that she sent someone, or maybe it's a nude someone sent her, right?" No, it ain't even that, right? It's a dating app. I was like, okay, so, and I could still understand being upset about seeing the dating app, right? I'm not gonna take away from it, but I could see it, right? It was his approach to the situation, right? You found that dating app, right? Okay, go have dinner. Say whatever you're gonna say, right? Then when you guys get home, be like, so Katina, when I saw your phone earlier, I saw this dating app. Like, what's up with that? Because he asked her, how would you feel if it was me? She said, I would be upset, but I would also talk to you and ask you what's going on. And that's the mature route, right? You see something in your spouse's phone, right? If you see it, right? You say, hey, babe, so I was going through your phone. And they'd be like, okay. And I saw a dating app. Like, why do you have a dating app on your phone? And then they would explain why the dating app is on their phone, right? And Katina was even saying, I haven't used that app. It's not even an account on there. And when she said it's not an account on there, I'm like, okay, so it's kind of like what I mean. How many people? I mean, come on, let's be real, you guys. How many of us out there have apps on our phones that we don't use, right? That we should probably delete to, free up some storage, right? I'm guilty of that. I have so many apps on my phone, and I was looking at some apps one day, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is this app? What is this one? Why do I even still have this app? I haven't used this app since I got my phone, right? I was on Katina's side when she flipped out. I was on Katina's side. I was really on Katina's side because Elijah One's receding hairline was fucked up, right? You did not have to make her look foolish in front of the group, right? You could have literally held on to that until you guys got home. Like, you could have held on to that shit. You and your dirty ass drawers could have held onto that until you got home. Like, that pissed me off, right? But like I said a few minutes ago, with Elijah One, it's really a thing of he wants to beat Katina down. He wants to make her feel like shit. And if he finds any little thing that he can to make her feel that way, he's gonna 100% do it. But hey, you guys, that's the review. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode of Married at First Sight. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications, you guys. Share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, you guys. Wear a mask. Socially distance. Be blessed. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.